So as usual, we reconnect with the sense that we wish ourselves well. On the basis of the wish to be sensitive and to respond. And that sensitivity and response is what gives us life. This is life, sensitivity and response. And there's all sorts of energies and complications. And to give some time, give some attention, to give some care, to welcome whatever, and to gather the energy of life. Not carrying anything, not grabbing hold of more, not carrying the past, not grasping into the future, not rejecting this experience now. Willing to bear all of it, all of this sensitivity. A gift, received experience, a gift, given attention, the whole of the body, the energy of this body, a sense of this connection, physical, emotional, and the awareness, the knowing. This here, this now, this time, this space, this now, this here, this space, this time. The whole of this. the experience and the experience of the experience, the space and the silence. Before thought, before conception, perception, complication, a welcoming, and the stillness of release. The balance is not held. A release of burden, a release and not picking up expectation, it's like this. A balance, alive, sensitivity, in well-wishing, in interest, interest without expectation, pre-verbal, before thought, and spacious silence, the knowing, sensitivity, permission and a willingness in this well-wishing. In this connection, in this remembering, recollecting what is, nothing to get rid of, nothing to gain, and gratitude. And the capacity to give attention and the capacity to receive experience in a rhythm of breathing in and breathing out. And the whole of it. The whole of the experience, the entirety, the infinite in this moment. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang Dhammang Sanghang Namassami. There's something about not knowing that opens up all sorts of possibilities. Traditionally, either exciting or scary. The exciting you want to move towards, the scary you want to move away from. In this not knowing, this is the nature of experience. Just figuring it out, not knowing what's happening next. The worry, the fear, the hope, and the expectation. Oh well, this is it. This is what we've got. This is where we are. This is out of all the possible things that could be happening or are happening here and now. This is what we've got. This is where we are experiencing. But, okay. What do we know? We know that well, what don't we know? We don't know all the causes and conditions that brought us to this point. Too numerous, too complicated. And trying to figure them out and tell the stories about how we're here and now. It's all just speculation. It's maybe helpful, but it's all just stories and speculation out of all the possible permutations that could have happened that got us here. Here we are. And where we're going to, well, we don't know what got us here. We don't know where this sense of separation is going to take us. This is the moment. There's a momentum in all of this. And we don't know. And there's one of the few certainties is we know we're going to die. That's the long and short of it. This body is finite. At some point or another, this is something that we wake up to, and as we hear and perceive and see people die. And We don't know when. We don't know when. That's the long and short of it. And this is the realization that in one of the stories, the Lord Buddha used to, in the mornings, used to consider, this is the way the story goes, used to consider, well, who might benefit from the teachings? And he figured out that there was this person who might benefit from the teaching. So the story goes, just as a strong person reaches out their arm and draws it back again, he went to the village where this person was, and he went on arms round, and then received the food. He was all alone, and he sat under the pavilion there. And the elders of the village gathered around, and he'd eaten, and he was sitting quietly. And the person, who was just a young lady, about 16 years old, she was helping her father, who was a weaver. And she was busy. The weaver had work to do, and so she was helping him. And the weaver sent her to go and get some more thread from the spinners, who were the other side of the village. So the story goes, the weaver's daughter went to get the thread, went to get the bobbin, and then coming back, she realized that the Lord Buddha was in the village, and so she passed at the back of the group of people who were sitting quietly waiting for the Lord Buddha to say something, to give them some sort of encouragement or something. The Lord Buddha was just sitting quietly. And then he noticed the weaver's daughter just walking in the back and said, "Where have you come from?" And the weaver's daughter said, a bit surprised. It's the first thing that the Lord Buddha had said really that day. And the weaver's daughter said, "I don't know." And then the Lord Buddha asked again, he said, "Where are you going to?" And the weaver's daughter said, "I don't know." And by this time, the crowd that was sitting in front of the Buddha, the group of elders and dignitaries of the village who were waiting for the talk, were thinking, this weaver's daughter is being a bit cheeky. Obviously, she's carrying the thread for her father. She does come from where the spinners are, and see, she's just going to father's workshop. And they didn't say anything. They were sitting there just thinking this. And the Lord Buddha said, "You don't know?" And the weaver's daughter said, "I know." And by this time, the people who were sitting in front of the Buddha were getting really quite upset. Just being very cheeky. First of all, she says she doesn't know, and then she says she doesn't know, and now she says she knows. And the Lord Buddha said again, "You know?" The question. And the weaver's daughter said, I don't know. By this time, they were really upset. And the Lord Buddha said, stop, consider. All restless they were, shuffling around, trying to get the attention right, trying to get calm. And then the Lord Buddha said, well, this weaver's daughter, she has understood. When I was last here, I talked about life and death and the inevitability of death and knowing that we don't know when we're going to die. So she gave the correct answers. She said she doesn't know where she's come from. She doesn't know where she's going to. But she knows she's going to die, but she doesn't know when. And this is, something for us all. Because all the possibilities, we just don't know. There is this sense of subjectivity, the sense of sensitivity. But what we're sensitive to could be anything. We're driven by causes and conditions, driven by habits and instincts. We give attention to one thing or another. We give attention to one thing or another, born out of impulses. One of the things about impulses is it's a sort of action. It's an action. It's a movement. This is karma. Unintentional actions, intentional actions, habits, infinite possibilities. There's always just something. So from infinite possibilities, that this comes, and then there's this relationship that happens, that you've got an internal impulse, an external object, and then the relationship between the two. Have the internal sense base, the external object, and the consciousness that links it. That's contact. Have the sense of resistance or existence, and then the naming of that existence, that the how it appears. This is how it appears. And this appearance is what we call the naming of it. They have name and form, and the relationship between the two. So it's name and form and the relationship between the two. What makes it present is consciousness. It's what makes things present. Consciousness is what makes things present. It's that which is unconscious is not present for us. That's the the possibility that there is such a thing as the possibility of things being present is undifferentiated consciousness as an element is a gateway to the unconditioned. It's, the four elements of earth, water, fire, and air. They're the things that give existence. But what makes it possible, what makes existence possible is the space in which they're all in. And what makes them present is the fact of consciousness. So there are 6 elements. Four that the question of persistence, which is earth, or resistance, which is earth, or inertia, which is earth, which is basic, and then the shape of it, the sort of tone of it, really, as well, which gives it sort of sense of separation from others, is water. And then the whole business of how that the transformation that is inherent in anything that comes together, the fact that things consume, the things are transform in some way, is the fire, and which is what actually allows the possibility of resistance and heat and transformation. Allows things to cook and chemical reactions to happen. And then the whole business just vibrates. The vibration is air. The vibration of air. These are the primary elements. And which makes things stand out from other people. Things stand out from other things because there is space. There is space. But then what makes a whole thing of space possible, what allows the space to be perceived and the things in it, is consciousness. And humans have this connection with consciousness. The connection they have with consciousness is they can be conscious that they're conscious. That's the power. One can know that one knows. One can know the knowing. There needs to be a certain safety for that, a certain sense of security in that, a certain sense of stillness in that, for that realization to really transform the knowing of the knowing. So the attention is on knowing how the whole process of creation takes place, how the whole sense of separation takes place, out of all the possibilities. This is the bit that this is experiencing now. And it's a very strange thing because we experience this sense of self creating time. Which gives the whole business. And the stories around it. It's not wrong. It's nothing. It's not a mistake in all of this. It's believing in it too fully, giving too much importance, or too much importance to the basic sense of this separation, and not knowing that what joins it, what joins. Because in separating and making something present, so consciousness both separates and joins. When we're conscious of something, there's a sense of separation, but also a sense of joining. If I'm conscious of you, then there's a sense of joining, but also of separation. So it's the strange paradox of conscious experience. And the joining with the conscious of consciousness is a returning to this knowing, a recollecting, a recollecting. And just the whole process is in this knowing, there's a sense of the strange thing of reconnecting and releasing, which is a bit weird, because it's just a sense of this is how it is. So there's the knowing of all the strange way that we explain things, which is the whole symbolism of importance that we give to this sound means this. The importance that we give to this shape. There's a project happening at the moment at Amaravati, which is trying to tag old photographs of that people have taken since the start of whenever people think things have started, maybe the 50s through the 60s. And so there's photos and photos and photos. They've all been scanned. And of course, who's who in all of this? What labels, what tags do we put on it? And when we look at a group photograph, where does our attention go? So, who's that? Oh. And how that whole process happens. I tell the story of my mother, of how this process happened for her when she was staying in a hotel in China. And she was looking out. She got up a little bit. She was looking out the window at the garden. And she, it's her first night at home, first morning at the hotel. And she was she noticed a little old man walking around looking at the flowers. Then she noticed the process in herself that went, that's a little old man walking, looking at the flowers. That's my husband. And she noticed the recognition of the reconnecting and know the story of that. And how that story comes from past habits, past intentions, past karma. And, so a sense of being able to be free from that. So really connecting with the knowing of the knowing. So can you leave the little old man as a little old man? Or if the little old man, there is the recognition, this is my husband, or this is a picture of me. Is it really a picture of me? It's a picture of something. or this is a picture of Ajahn Sumedharama, or this is a picture of, and I don't know who that is. I thought I did know who that is. I recognize it, but I can't put a label on it. Now, all of that sort of impulse, I've noticed in looking at this, old pictures or pictures that are labeled old. Just interesting, out of all the possibilities, what we make of this experience. And the encouragement in the meditation to just stop. And allow and bear the arising and the ceasing, the ending and the peace, knowing what's not thinking, what's not worried, what's not regretting, what's not carrying the burden of the past, what's not picking up the hope and expectation of the future, and not even being concerned if there is hope and expectation of the future, not being concerned if there is worry, because this is just something that's happening now. Not trying to get rid of it, not trying to put it down, not trying to throw it away, not trying not to grasp hold of it, not trying to make the mind quiet. Just in the safety of this moment, it's okay. It's well-wishing. We can bear it. And the practice of meditation is just a practice of this formal meditation, and then through the day, interest in that as a refuge. So that whatever shocks, whatever surprises happen, whatever possibilities, there's a sense of connection with the safety of this trust. So I hope that that's been a little bit helpful. And if there are questions that people would like to type in the chat, then fine. If they manage to get round to it. So it's good to reconnect like this. And this has been recorded, so whatever technical glitches have happened in your universe, or whatever glitches have happened in your life, there might be a possibility of getting back to reconnecting with this at some point. Oh, there they are. Thank you. There's the first question. Ajahn Vajiro, how to cultivate contentment, joy before, during, and meditation when the mind is affected by physical discomfort. Is it beneficial to cultivate that feeling? Physical discomfort. What to do about physical discomfort? there's a whole thing about physical discomfort. It's the body telling you something's not right. It's not wrong that the body has physical discomfort. It's doing what it needs to do. It's it's developed because of causes and conditions. I don't know how people deal with it, chronic physical pain. I don't notice something that is that insistent. Usually. There are times when there's pain, but there's not that much. Before the meditation, I wouldn't recommend just going, just coming on, I'm going to sit still for an hour, but I'm already in pain from the first 5 minutes, first minute. I wouldn't actually recommend that. But for some people, it's inevitable because there's just constant physical pain. So that there has to be some sort of way of relating to that, which gives it less power. So noticing what's not hurting, noticing space around the pain, noticing the edge of the pain. This is one way of doing it. Not if you've got chronic pain, then not giving yourself extra pain by blaming yourself for having the chronic pain. That's an extra piece of complication which is unnecessary. So a sense of being content that one is able to practice, I suppose, is helpful. Joy that one has the opportunity to practice may be helpful. So in that sense, if that and getting in touch with the fact that you actually wish yourself well. Now this is something that I always find helpful. For many years I used to just get going and get down to my technique without giving effort and energy and attention to just the fact that life wishes itself well. And, whatever feelings, things that I might want out of my meditation are because I wish myself well. And this sense of well-wishing is inherent in all life. And being in touch with that, I find very helpful. So the next question, I have a question as to expectations. My sister has many expectations on my behavior and how to react. We've grown up in a very different social circles and our ethic standards clearly differ. I assume from her reactions that she's trying hard to change her environment and is hardly open to advice. I'm becoming very frustrated since when I suggest something or try to help, it is rejected. It seems always to be wrong. I try to stay calm, be open-minded and do metta to see her suffering. Is there anything else that would be helpful in this situation to ease the tension? It's my sister. And that's the start of the problem. And because it's mine, then there's that sense of I can do something about it. I need to do something about it. And this sense of if this person does something, then that will make me happy, is mortgaging one's happiness or giving responsibility for one's happiness to somebody else. You're putting yourself in debt to that person that you've created, this idea of that person. If they behave in that way, then I'll be happy. And of course, what that does is whenever they see you or around you, what they feel is, you don't like me. I had this thing with my father. It took me 15 years. I always tell this story. My father would have much preferred that I stopped being a monk or never became a monk, and somehow made a lot of money and had children and drank whiskey with him and generally led an ordinary, pretty good life. He was a good person. He didn't want me to lead an evil life or anything like that, but he didn't want me to be a monk. So every time I was around him, I wanted his acceptance. I wanted him to accept me as for what I am. So whenever I was around him, he could feel that I didn't like him because he wasn't accepting me. I don't like you because you don't accept me. I will like you if you accept me. If you appreciate that I'm a good monk, and then I will, and you show that appreciation, then I will like you. So this was the feeling that my father got when he was around me. He got the feeling that I was rejecting him because he wasn't accepting me. You see how complicated it gets? So I recognized that I was making him uncomfortable by wanting him to accept me. So I gave it up. I said, it's not his responsibility to accept me. What he feels is entirely his concern. My job is to accept him. My job is to appreciate him. So then I could be happy because he was basically a good man. So I stopped wanting him to change, to make me happy. And that made my relationship with him much easier. Yeah? If I want somebody to change to make me happy, then I'm making them responsible for my happiness. And I'm not liking them because they don't change in the way that I want them to be. So I think I'm expressing my love by wanting them to change. But actually, all they feel is the hate. I want you to be different. So, and that's painful. And then, later I heard that he wouldn't tell me. He was quite proud of me. That was much later. But I think it took a bit of time for him to recognize that he didn't have to change to like me. He didn't have to change to make me happy. I was already happy. I was happy in what I was doing. And that's enough. If he could see that I was happy in what I was doing, then that was easy for him to relax. And not wanting him to be different towards me made it easier for him. So, with a sister, I don't know what you want her to do. And what you don't like her, why you don't like her, because she's not doing what you want her to do. Because what she's feeling is a sense of, I don't like you. Regardless of what you want, whether you think what you want her to do is better for her or not. What she's experiencing from you is, I don't like you because you're not behaving in the way that I want you to behave. And if you're feeling from her, because you're not behaving in the way that she wants you to behave, then you're going to feel rejected by her. Yeah? Because you're not behaving in the way that she wants you to behave. If you're making other people responsible for your happiness, it's very difficult. It's often between relatives. Because the sense of the sense of me and mine. I mean, it gets a bit more distance when it's the president of my country. You can still get upset when the president of my country doesn't behave in the way that I want him to behave. or a sheet of a hay, or whatever, or my football team. But it's it's closeness. So don't worry. Try, if you're happy yourself, then you can give happiness. But if you try to make other people responsible for your happiness, then that's difficult. And it's particularly with my children, or my parents, or my sister. If you tell your children, if you do this, then I'll be happy, you're being very unkind to them. Because they're not responsible for your happiness. I'm sorry. Is the Bhagavad Gita connected to the Buddha's teachings? I've got no idea. I'm sure it might be in some way. Yeah, people have all sorts of ideas. Can you again what you spoke about at the end of it? Safety of you need safety in order to deeply connect. Sorry, it's not the safety of connection. The safety of connection, you need a sense of safety to connect, but there's also a sense of safety when you reconnect with the sense that you can connect with the sense of connection. Is that a way of putting it? Somebody says that it's right. So, it's just that when you appreciate there is the possibility to connect, there's a safety in that. Knowing what is not thinking. Can you please elaborate the point? Okay, so thought is just thought. It has a beginning and an end, and there is that which is not thinking. You can't think about what that's not thinking. It's only the knowing of it. What you can do is turn thought into an object. Rather than being caught up in thought, then you can notice that thought is an object that comes and goes. There is that which is not thinking. The edge of thought, you can try thinking very slowly. Or you can try asking yourself a question for which there's no answer. What is the sound of one hand clapping? Or there's something where you put yourself in the sense of, I don't know. And noticing the space before there's a sense of knowing. So that sense of, I don't know. Go with that. So thank you all very much. And I hope this hasn't generated more confusion.